Well, hello. If you can see on the other screen, we've got Eilish. Eilish. I mean, I've been mispronouncing her name forever because I pronounce the E and it's pronouncing the I is the way you say her name. And so I've been getting it wrong all my life. But anyway, she is my hostess and going to be guiding me through Australia when I make my trip there the end of this month, the beginning of next month. And I'm looking forward to that. And she has a lot of things on the agenda of suggestions of things we might do. But I want to let her just give an overview of her relationship of how she came to know me and what some of her vision is and what some of the things that she's involved in so that you get to know her as well. And she's going to do most of the talking. I'm just introducing her now. So,
well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ron, for that lovely introduction. And hello, everyone watching. And thank you all for supporting Ron. I also came to know Ron through his videos, his daily videos on YouTube, which were, to me, like a daily check-in. Ron, I've been following you for years now, as you know, and to me, I always felt a kindred nature, a kindred spirit with you. I also have an affinity with seeing people's past lives flash over their faces, and I can see often when somebody has been a major influence in my past lives. And I saw you, Ron, as somebody who I know from Atlantis, and I saw you as somebody who is actually has had many lives as a priest. So at one stage when you were talking years ago, like over 5 years ago, on one of your daily video blogs, you were talking about the priesthood of Melchizedek, and I really related to that very much, and it really rang true for me as something that I felt that you were affiliated with on a soul level. The other thing that really interested me is I haven't come out at all about this, so this is a scoop, an exclusive if you like, because I've never ever come out publicly on international video, so this is it. This is me coming out. I'm also a contactee and one of the times when I was taken, I don't like to use the word abduction because it's not abduction when you're meeting family or you're checking in with your soul family, but one of the times when I was actually went somewhere that doesn't seem to be on planet. I was taken to what seemed to be like a boardroom, and the only person I recognized from the planet was you, Ron, and I saw that you were there also being recruited, and it was like we were being inducted into some sort of ambassadorship or some sort of role of leadership, but also reporting back. And it seemed to be a galactic governance or a council of some sort. They seemed to be positives, and I really felt an affinity and alignment with you. So that's me coming out here right now.
Okay.
But I thought it was a time. It's been burning inside me to say that, and I just wanted an appropriate time. And I guess the only time when I've actually recognized someone from Earth aboard one of these things was when I saw you in this what felt like a boardroom. Well,
it's interesting because my friend Margie was the owner of a club called the Boardroom, and I worked for her for several years. And you know, she's one of the ones that is on this. You don't talk about negative stuff, and I don't know. That might not be an exact quote, but anyway, you mentioned the Boardroom, And
Yeah.
that rings a lot of bells for me. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, yeah. So I really felt an affinity with you, but also a memory of you, that I know you. I've known you before. So, oh, one thing I don't have, but I can go and send someone to go and get it is is the magazines, that I have, that you've, printed out in the past as well. The Paradox magazines that I wanted to,
Yes, I
also.
know you. When we were talking yesterday, you had a whole fistful of them. I don't know how many. I
Yeah,
didn't count, but you had at least a dozen or more
yeah.
back issues of the magazine that I published for 5 years.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I'll send someone to get them so that we can continue the conversation. But yeah. So I've obviously been following you for a while, but I've also felt like a kindred spirit with you, like we're on the same team, or we're in the same family, or in the same soul group. And so, when I saw that you were, I felt very sad when you finally, when they finally took your house. And feeling that heaviness and that sadness and that heartbreak, when the opportunity came up that we could talk about, well, what now, Ron? What now? What, talking about Australia, because for people that don't know, I live very close to Melbourne, in Victoria, in Australia, which is in the southeast corner of the mainland.
It would be
Ron,
Florida if it was in the United States.
that's right. So Ron lives in Melbourne, in Florida, right? So you're basically going from Melbourne to Melbourne. So that's really interesting.
Right,
And so,
and I've been going, or have gone, quite a bit to the Unity Church here, and there's a Unity Church there, and one of the people that goes to Unity Church at work.
that's right.
So
Yes, yes.
small world.
Mark is a dear friend of mine, and also, he and I have studied common law before, and with Santos Bonacci in the same class. So it was me, Mark from Unity, and Santos, all in the same common law class on a weekend workshop. We all became really close and acquainted through that many years ago, like 2009, I think. So it's been a long journey, with some of these friends, but it's funny how, we keep coming full circle, and synchronicities happen. So I think it's really good, Ron, that you're, coming out and, spreading your wings. Perhaps you may not have come to Australia had you have still had the house. So maybe
I'm sure that would be the case. And when I'm there, have you ever heard of the group called the Seekers?
Yes, yes.
They're from Melbourne, Australia.
Yes, that's right.
They've become my favorite group. They're my inspiration. I mean, I've listened to them for hour after hour after hour, and I finally ordered the first CDs that I've ordered in years. I ordered the 50th anniversary double CD with 50 songs on it from the Seekers. And I'd love to get to meet them when I come there, but I don't know.
Lovely. Well, we can
possible.
try. We can definitely try, Ron. So Judith's in Melbourne, is she? I thought she might have still been up in Brisbane, but whichever way, I mean, you're going to be.
I thought they were in Melbourne.
Okay, well, we can definitely try look them up and set up a meeting. So that'd be really interesting, and it's only an hour or so from my house. So, but
Judith is amazing. I mean, I don't know if she's the woman vocalist that's there. I mean, her voice. I mean, she was with the Seekers, and then she went away and did her own thing for a while. Then she went back for the 25th anniversary, and she was with them again for a while, touring, and then for the 50th anniversary again, touring. So it's quite an interesting saga.
And what is it about Judith Durham and the Seekers that really, really sings to your heart at the moment, Ron?
Well, they sing country music and what's folk music type of thing, and they mix a lot of gospel in with it, and I just feel that they have a spiritual connection. When I rediscovered them earlier this year, I mean, it fed my soul. just listening to them fed my soul, and to hear them, some of the talk in between the songs and stuff like that. I just so very much related to who they are and what they the energy that they project it resonates with me.
Well, I don't think there's any coincidences. You know, as I was mentioning Mark's name in regards to Unity Church, just before
right.
I'm on the computer, and I was looking that Mark Funder actually liked 2 things that I'd put on my wall. And he was the one that I was just talking about that belongs to your church. Here in Melbourne, that I wanted to introduce you to, my common law friend. So just as I was talking about him, he was liking my stuff on Facebook. That's the kind of synchronicity we know that we're on to something. And so if Judith Durham is singing To Your Soul, I don't think it's any coincidence. I don't think it'll be an effort to meet her. I think Spirit's setting a lot of this up. I don't believe in coincidences anymore. This is all synchronicities. So, you know, I'm very open to seeing where this goes. And if you need a lift up to Canberra or Sydney, or even up north to, you know, where my teepee is in the forest, we can go for a big, you know.
Well, I definitely hope I meet Peter Van Runt. And I mean, he and I were just really, really close. But when Swiss Indo sort of disintegrated back a few years ago, he just sort of wanted to lay low, and we haven't really had much communication, very limited communication.
We can try. And also, I know where Santos Bonacci lives. He and I are good buddies, as I mentioned before. So, you know, we can even go up there. But that's
a long ride.
Oh, that's about 20 hours or so. But we can go on a road trip if you like, because I've got a lot of crew up there up north. So that's not a problem.
It's warmer up there up north. It's just the opposite here.
Yeah, because I'm close to Antarctica, and we're going up towards the equator, so it gets quite tropical up there. Even in winter, it gets, you know, it's really quite nice and warm. You just have to get used to the fact that we drive on the
wrong side of the road. Yeah, I know.
The left-hand side, and our steering wheel's on the right.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So as you said, you just follow what everybody else is doing when you come to the United States.
That's what I did in California. I had the use of a Mustang, and a convertible, and I just followed what everyone else was doing. You know, fake it till you make it. You know, oh, they're all stopping. I better stop. So turning right and left was a bit, you know, you just follow everyone else pretty much. So, look, I'm really looking forward to your visit, and I'd like to do a show with you when you're here, because for those that don't know me, I'm one of the broadcasters on Conscious Consumer Network TV. I have a show on every Australian time every Tuesday morning. At the moment, it's starting at 8 a.m. every Tuesday morning. Daylight savings time, it was about 10 a.m. But if you're in Britain, it's British summer time, 11 p.m. Mondays. How that translates for the afternoons for Americans, I think it's about 4 p.m. San Francisco time. So on Mondays. So and my show is called We Are the Ones We've Been Waiting For. And I've really come to the conclusion that I don't think aliens are going to save us. I think the Christed ones are within. I think the awakening of the Christed energy is really a spiritual awakening and a knowing within, and it's a self-empowerment. I just don't think I'm going to keep waiting for a guru or a savior or a messiah or anything external. And that's why I call the show We Are the Ones We've Been Waiting For, because I think it's more about self-empowerment. So although I talk about problems in the world, and certainly there are a lot, and if you have a look at my shows, you'll see how serious some of the problems are, but I always like to do it on a positive note, with education and empowerment. So I never, like Alex Jones has a really rasping voice, and he talks about how bad the world is, and he doesn't really talk about solutions. It always puts me
No,
into
he doesn't talk about solutions.
it takes me into a beta state of fear. Like when I listen to his voice, it kind of agitates me and puts me in it's almost like programming. And I'm sure that there's something going on there. But anyway, I'm really not impressed with that kind of broadcasting that puts people in fear and disempowerment. I think that's part of the dark agenda, to be honest, even if he is, supposedly on a good team. I don't think he is. I think he's Zionist.
Well, I think ultimately we're all going to be on the good team, and those that aren't are going to have a little vacation somewhere where they have time to think about it.
Yeah, that's right. So, with my shows, I like to educate and inform and empower, and that's why the show's called We Are the Ones We've Been Waiting For. So it's problem, reaction, solution, but in a positive way, not in a the positive the other solutions are, they do the problem, reaction, solution, the control side, but they do it in a way that, oh, well, there's Muslims in caves, with box cutters, so we'll go and invade Afghanistan and Iraq.
It's funny because one of the things that I get criticized for, I have friends that were part of my spiritual group, and I used to invite the Muslim imam to come and speak to my group.
Well,
and I used to get flack for that, because there are people here that have been so brainwashed that Muslims somehow are evil. I know a lot of Muslims that are definitely loving human beings, and I know Hindus and Buddhists and Jews, and religion has been set up to divide instead of to unify, and they miss the point of the whole thing. It's about loving one another.
Yeah. Well, I really think that, having explored many, many different religions myself, born into a Catholic family, getting invited from an astral dream to the Hare Krishna farm, not by like a 3D person, but actually being told in a dream that I had to go to the Hare Krishna farm to educate myself about reincarnation and meditation and karma-free eating, to exploring spiritualist church and going to pagan gatherings and Buddhist temples and Hindu ashrams and I haven't spent so much in the Middle Eastern religions, but I have learnt to sing in ancient Hebrew and Aramaic, but not so much in the Muslim faith. But even so, I feel like I have, done a lot of exploration in the different religions, and looked at different sides of politics, left wing, right wing. Wow, in the end of the day, I just think that religion and politics, there's a reason why our parents said never to bring up religion and politics at the dinner table, and I really think it's about...
Because it's divisive.
Yeah, it's just like the flat earth is now. The flat earth, and I love you, Santos, I love you, brother, but, the flat earth is another thing. I'm going to have to agree with Max Egan here, or Max Egan, that I believe that the flat earth story, theory, whatever you want to call it, truth, whatever whatever side of the earth idea that you're on, I really think it's divided the truth community.
Well, anytime you have a belief that becomes the center of your thought patterns, and you have to divide from everybody because they don't believe what you do, that's more of the same old paradigm that we're trying to move out of and to grow beyond.
Yes, and Vinnie Eastwood and Max Egan did a wonderful show about how the flat earth has divided the truth community, and I would have to agree with them, even though I have spent about 15 hours on listening very patiently to all the evidence about the flat earth, and
me too.
I'm really open to it. I'm really open to the globe earth, really open to the flat earth, really open to the hollow earth. I'm pretty much, jury's out at the moment. But
how about the hollow earth theory, that there's a whole civilization of beings living inside of the hollow earth?
Yes, Shambhala and Agartha and Admiral Richard E. Byrd. I was just looking at an interview with Richard E. Byrd today, actually, on YouTube, which is on my wall on public at the moment. So, yeah, I'm really open to the hollow earth, and I'm open to the holographic earth too, which is another, because we're all just hard holograms at the end of the day anyway. So, whatever, look, it could be a flying mama turtle. I don't know. But whatever we're flying around, the other thing, it could be toroidal, could be like a donut. And the other thing, here's another thing, it could be flat and round at the same time. Now, okay, so imagine that this is, I should have a ball, but I don't. Anyway, just imagine that this is the ball, and imagine that this is the bit of the earth that we see, and there's an icy ring around it, which is, we call Antarctica, right? And it's actually the icy ring. Imagine if there's more real estate. Imagine if it's actually part of a bigger globe, so it is actually a globe and a flat earth at the same time. So, we could be arguing and dividing ourselves when we're actually talking about one and the same thing.
Yeah, well, anything that divides people and prevents us from loving and accepting each other wherever we are, to me, is the antithesis of where we want to be.
Yes. And so that's exactly right. So we have to move from duality into unity consciousness. And so the increase in novelty and the increase in crazy theories and divisions and, reasons to divide people are going to become more and more. And so we were quite united as a truth community with our common law stuff and our spiritual stuff and realizing that we're all God having a human experience or whatever. And now that there's this great big angry wedge and it's almost cult-like, and I'm not having a go at people that are seriously believing in the flat earth, because I'm really open to it too. I mean, Captain Cook, there's a story about, the equator being a certain distance from, one end to the other, like a circumnavigating the equator, right? Well, you think that the icy little island on the bottom of the earth would then be a smaller little, it would be less in circumference than the equator, right? Which is the fat bit in a circle. Well, Captain Cook sailed so many nautical miles around the Antarctica and never really got to the end of it. It was much greater distance in nautical miles than the actual width of the equator. So that's...
Wow, I didn't know. I've never read that. That's mind-boggling.
Yeah. So, like, you got a little icy island on the bottom of a ball, right? It should only be a tiny little thing to circumnavigate, and the fat bit around a ball should be this. So, say, I think, correct me if I'm wrong because I haven't looked at the maths recently, but imagine if it's like 45,000 nautical miles this way, right, around the equator. I'm just giving you an example. Well, I think Captain Cook sailed something like 60,000 nautical miles, and he never got to the end of, around Antarctica. Well, that's got to say something, isn't it, for little icy islands fatter.
Yeah. The truth is we don't know, but does it really matter?
And at the end of the day, let's not divide ourselves here. Let's not get lost in the details. Let's concentrate on what unites us rather than what divides us. And the controlling elite would like to divide us on everything and make us look stupid and ridicule us, and we lose credibility whenever we spout information that other people have researched that we haven't perhaps double-checked or cross-checked. But, it's there to divide us. And I've seen my dear brother Santos get quite steamed up, he's Mediterranean, and he gets quite steamed up about certain things when people don't agree with him in regards to the flat earth, because he's really flying this flag at the moment with Eric Dubai. And look, I don't have a problem with him presenting this information because it's interesting, but let's not get lost in that. Let's always work towards unity.
Amen. Yes.
Yeah, because we can criticize each other for having different colored hair or whatever, but at the end of the day, we all have feelings and we all want to be happy, and and we all want to love our families and be and find love and live safely and healthily, you know. So really, I mean, I've been to so many international airports over the years doing on my travels and on my pilgrimages and everything. I've travelled around the world, and you know, you go to one international airport, you go to another international airport, you realise that people aren't that different. Everybody loves their mothers and everybody loves their babies, and you know, we're not that different. There's more things that unite us as a humanity than silly things that divide us. So let's not focus on those things. I mean, we can nerd out about, you know, flat Earth and, you know, talk about angles and lighthouses and everything. And look, I'm open to all of it. Really am. I'm open to all of it. I'll accept everything with an open heart. But at the end of the day, let's not divide ourselves now as a truth community. And really having you here, Ron, and having one Melbourne come to the other Melbourne, and you know, having a soul brother come here and visit, it's going to be really nice. We're going to have I'm really looking forward to your visit, and you can come on to my show and we can talk about stuff more. We are the ones we've been waiting for, because a lot of the time
we're not limited. I don't see here what time we started, so I don't even know how long we've gone on this. I have no clue. I didn't look at the clock when I hit the start recording.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm not looking either. Time really doesn't exist anyway, does it? Time doesn't exist.
Well, you know, because I do videos every day, I try not to make them too long, because I try to think, well, I'm taking too much from this person. I used to limit it to 15 minutes, my personal videos.
Yeah, I remember that.
And but now I've been doing it to 10 minutes. I try to keep it around 10 minutes long.
Okay.
So anyway, but when I do an interview, I try to keep it around 30. But I don't know what time we started. I didn't look.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't really look either, and I can't see a timer on my Zoom screen. But anyway, I'm just want to let everyone know that I'm gonna be you know, being a host or a hostess for Ron. So it'd be really nice if we can organise a few nice tribe gatherings and events while we're here. We might try and get in a sweat lodge. I know there's going to, I definitely know, because I'm going to be hosting a couple of chanting circles. So we're going to be introducing you to the local spiritual bohemian hippie artist, you know, community here.
How about the Aborigines? Will I meet some of the Aboriginals?
If you come up north with me, I'm actually really, really close with the Queen of Gondwana, Jinky, who is an amazing woman. Her Western name is Kerry Ann Cox, and she is absolutely incredible. Do you know what she said to me? And she's open about this, so I'm able to share it. She's actually from Beagle Bay in Western Australia, northwestern Australia, near Broome, and I said to her, what does the oral tradition, what do your old people say about where you guys came from? I mean, what is there anything beyond dream time? You know, because they've been here longer than even the ancient Egyptians, who were star people, right? It was the ancient Egyptians that came here to the east coast of Australia and put hieroglyphics on rock walls here. And the rock walls, the hieroglyphs read that they came here to visit the oldest people on the planet. So
wow,
even
I didn't know that.
Even the ancient Egyptians who left hieroglyphics in Gosford, which is just north of Sydney, and I can take you to those hieroglyphs because I know where they are. I was taken there, and it says in those hieroglyphics that the ancient Egyptians sailed here to get the star knowledge and the local earth knowledge and the bush tucker knowledge, bush tucker meaning natural food selection, from the ancient people, the most ancient people on the planet. So even the ancient Egyptians recognized the Australian Aborigines as being older colonists. Now, I say colonists for a reason. I said to Jinky, where do your people come from? She goes, your people are my people, you're my family. And I'm like, yeah, but where do you come from? And she said, she's actually the descendant of the 13 original grandmothers that first colonized this planet. I'm not kidding. And she said to me that they come from the Pleiades. Yeah. So we will meet with Jinky, and she is a big heart, big spirit.
Is she still in northwestern Australia?
No, she's in Mullumbimby, and I had dinner with her a couple of weeks ago.
Oh wow!
Because I frequently travel up north because my TP is up there and everything. So I've got a northern tribe up there, as well as the musicians and the artists and the Bohemians in Melbourne. So we're certainly going to have lots of fun, and hopefully with the viewers we'll share some of our experiences. We'll take you on a bit of an adventure and a bit of a road trip. You'll get to meet the spiritual community here and also the common law friends. We've got a lot in common, Ron, and I feel that we're soul family. So you'll probably meet other people that you recognise or that you have an affinity with here, and we'll certainly introduce you and get you acquainted with people that love you and follow you and that know you from previous interactions, like your friend in Canberra. So yeah, and that's only 8 hours, and really, Australia, we drive long distance to get anywhere, so 8 hours is fine. It's just a day trip for us, so yeah, we'll definitely have a good time when you're here, and we'll share some of that both on your daily recordings if you're making them from here, as well as.
I don't plan on stopping, although I might miss a day or two here and there when I'm
we'll get good We'll get good Wi-Fi even if we have to piggyback off McDonald's for no other reason. But I've got Wi-Fi here and also up north as well, so we'll be right, and we'll be able to broadcast from wherever we are, even TP Wi-Fi, and take people on a bit of an adventure and just see some of the beauty in Australia. So for people who haven't been, we'll meet Indigenous family, we'll meet perhaps some Indigenous wildlife that you may not have, encountered.
Like kangaroos?
Oh, we'll see kangaroos everywhere. They're everywhere. We just got to watch it. We just got to be careful driving at dusk and at dawn because they're nocturnal and they move around a lot in the morning before sunrise, and they move around a lot at dusk as well. I mean,
so do deer in this country. Yeah. I've actually hit deer 3 or 4 times when I lived in Pennsylvania. Only one time did it mess up my car. The other times it was mild, but I made contact with them because they run out in front of you and they don't know any better.
Kangaroos too, and wallabies, and so we really have to take care and be careful of wildlife. I've driven around and seen koalas hit too, so it can be absolutely heartbreaking, but because they're marsupials, you have to stop. You have to check their pouches because they have pouches. They have these tiny little embryos in their pouches that are already breastfeeding. They're hairless, and you have to get that to a wildlife person unless you know how to look after a baby marsupial and have your own little pouch. But I know a lot of wildlife rescuers that take care of orphans, roadkill orphans. So yeah, but that's part of the Australian culture. We have to check for the babies because you just can't leave a little one with a deceased mother on the side of the road.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, but anyway, we'll look forward to culturally immersing you into this wonderful land down under, and I'll get you to have some Vegemite. You'll get to know what Vegemite is. If you don't know what Vegemite is, do you know what Vegemite is?
It sounds like something that comes from vegetables.
Well, it is. It's vegetable extract. It's kind of a yeasty product. Don't recommend it for people who are suffering from candida. But we usually have it on toast which is more candida really for people who are really wanting to avoid yeast. I don't recommend, Vegemite on toast. But anyway, it's one of the staples that we all grew up with, and it's basically like black shoe polish, which is really heavily salty, which you've got to use sparingly. It's kind of like Promite and Marmite, but it's part of the Australian experience. You can't come to Australia and not try Vegemite.
Okay, well, eating has never been one of my. I've like to live in a tight little box of eating, and I grew up as the firstborn, and I didn't like things, and so my parents didn't make me eat what I didn't like, and I didn't like most things.
Well,
I've grown out of a lot of that, but it's still to eat something that I'm not familiar with is still a challenge for me. So you're going to challenge me, and I know this trip is going to
challenge you. I'm going to challenge you, that's for sure. But, we're going to put you in some beautiful situations. And one of the things that I've been asked to be involved with is a Muktananda lineage Shaktipat ceremony in which I'm playing sitar and harmonium, singing in Sanskrit, Kundalini activation with people from the Muktananda lineage. And the Nityananda crew. So you can come along to that. It'll be a meditation and yoga and breathing exercise, and it'll be an initiation ceremony, which I think is really important for people when they're practicing spiritual ascension and working with their body technology, and and working with their consciousness and marrying the two. And there's going to be some chanting nights alongside that as well. So there's certainly going to be lots of fun and lots of wonderful people for you to meet.
Sounds like I won't be bored.
Oh, it's never boring around me. There's always something going on. But so we'll do some daily video blogs, maybe individually together, and also I'll have my show on We Are the Ones We've Been Waiting For. So I'll have you on at least once while you're here.
Okay.
And we'll have fun. Maybe even get Aristo on board as well. And we'll have a.
He's an amazing human being.
Oh my goodness! All his comments, like whenever I go onto your Facebook wall, Ron, and I see Aristo comment, it's always a really profound thesis,
Yeah, it's just trying to get it into a shortened form. That's a challenge.
Yeah, but he's a wonderful mind, and it's really lovely that you've connected so deeply.
And people wonder, how can this Greek guy speak English so well? He went to college in the United States.
Yeah. So English wasn't his first language, but he's
he's Greek.
Well, English wasn't my first language, by the way, either. I spoke Hungarian for the first 5 years, so I never spoke English either. But it's funny, isn't it? So that's something that. A little bit of trivia for people that didn't know that. I'm really looking forward to your visit. We're going to have a really great adventure in May. My van will be back on the road, so we'll hit the road. We'll hit the frog and toad, as they say here in Oz. and really looking forward to your visit. So you're flying from Melbourne, coming into Melbourne. That'll be an interesting air ticket.
Right. Yeah, I still have to get the ticket, and I have a friend that works for a company that I think, or at least he used to, and I'm hoping he can get me cut me a real deal, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. And I'm still asking people to contribute so that if I do come back to the United States, which I expect to do, I'm going to have money to maybe get a place of my own. But I don't know. So I'm leaving my future up to God as much as I can, but I still think in terms of trying to plan things.
Yeah. Well, at least it'll get you out of some doldrums. I mean, making plans and having great adventures, and casting your concerns to the wind and leaving it up to the gods and going, well, you know what, if I am your messenger, your delegate, your representative, your voice, then come on, bring some good stuff to me too. You know, I've said that to the gods because I do a lot of chanting in many different languages, in Sanskrit, in Tibetan, in Hebrew, in Portuguese, because I do a cross-cultural kirtan, and so sometimes when I'm praying, I'll say, hey guys, you know, I've been putting a good word out there for you in the community for a long time. It's about time some good stuff came back, and you know, it does. You just got to sometimes, you know,
Be patient.
Yeah. So so I really do live by that philosophy, which is the name of my show. That it's about empowering ourselves and each other. So I'm really hoping that you know, having you come out here, which is also because our lives being so, well, our personal lives being so public, because people get to know us, and they get to see our trials and tribulations. And people that saw my last show with Eva, they saw that I had a cold. You know, I mean, they get to see everything. They get to hear everything, because we're basically sharing our lives pretty publicly. You know, so you know, seeing you overcome the tragedy of losing your house, and that you can still smile, and that you can still make plans, and that you can still have fun, and you can recover, and you can be caught and land in a soft place, in a safe house, with an intact, beautiful, functioning spiritual community that is nurturing, and you know, we're here for each other. It just makes the world, you know, a sweeter, smaller place, not so alien. You know, I really think it's no coincidence too that, you know, there's a Melbourne there and there's a Melbourne here, you know.
Small world.
It was really small world. Like when I first heard there was a Melbourne in Florida, I'm like, really? You know, like I thought there was only one. I didn't know, you know. So I don't know which one came first, but it doesn't really
Well,
matter.
I don't know when Melbourne, Florida was established. I've been here since '83. And I came here because this is where my uncle lived, and he was the only one that I knew that lived in Florida. He lived in Melbourne, and so I came to Melbourne. That was the only reason that I ended up here.
Well, we'll show you around Melbourne when you get here, and see what you think. It's a pretty big, busy.
Much bigger than the Melbourne, Florida. Melbourne, Florida is probably, you know, I don't know, 100, maybe 100,000. I don't know. It's not huge.
Well, our Melbourne is over 3 million.
I thought about 4 million.
4 million, yeah, that'd be right, because of the urban sprawl. Yeah, probably more like 4 or 5 million now. That's right. If you count the outer suburbs. So, it's a metro. You know, it's a metropolitan area. So, the regional town that I live in is 200,000. And my nearest airport is Avalon, which is funny because that's a part of my last name.
Right.
So yeah, so you'll get to see Melbourne and see what sort of place it is. It's certainly very multicultural, very, very multicultural. But the places that I'm going to be taking you are more bohemian, where there's a art exhibition and an art gallery and live music playing, and there's just cafes everywhere, you know.
Okay.
And
sounds exciting, and it's going to be an adventure. And I think we've probably reached our half an hour and probably gone over. But I don't know what time we started. I didn't look.
Don't know. But yeah, looking forward to it. So thanks everyone for watching, and if you could support Ron Van Dyke, please contribute. I'm sure you'll have your comments underneath about how to do that with PayPal or something. But if you want to assist his travel here, or some, you know, spending money, that'll really assist me in hosting his visit. So thank you very much for everyone that, you know, loves and has supported Ron over the years, and I really encourage you, if you've got, you know, some spare coins, to help Ron out. I mean, you know, this is a guy that's lost pretty much everything, and we're just trying to shine some happiness and light back into his life, and really bring some hope back into your heart about the kindness of humanity too, and showing you that there are nice people out there that do care, and so let's demonstrate that in any way we can to bring some happy memories to what's been quite a harrowing few years for you, Ron. I mean, I've been watching your vlogs, your daily vlogs, for quite a few years now, and I've seen what you've been. I've felt it, being an empath. I've felt it, what you've been through. So, my heart goes out to you, and that's why I'm really looking forward to supporting you in the way I can, which is hosting your visit. So thanks everyone for watching and getting to know me a little bit more, and so we'll share our adventures with our brother Ron, and and introducing him to the community here down under, because the world really isn't such a big place. We're just a big global family, and the sooner we realize that, the sooner we can come into that unity, which is part of the new paradigm.
Yeah, thank you very much. Namaste, Alicia.
Namaste. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.